Alright, we're going to be doing an assignment using AutoCAD 2012, and when you've got a couple different ones on your screen, and I want to make sure that you are in the AutoCAD 2012 English. So make sure that is the one that you select. When you select it, it'll take a few minutes for it to load up. This will be the screen that you get to. I'm going to come in here and just erase this discovery thing over here. See this grid that's on the screen? I don't really like seeing that grid either. Some people like the grid. I do not. See how my mouse is bouncing on the screen? So I'm going to come down here to my grid display. I'm going to left click on that one, turned it off. Alright, so now we're kind of ready to start. We've got up here in the upper left hand corner, we've got a draw and we've got a modify, and those are the two that we're going to be using quite a bit of. Alright, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to come down to the very bottom of the command prompt and we're going to type in units, U-N-I-T-S, and hit enter. This will be the box that comes up. We want to change our type of what we're going to use to architectural, and that is the only thing that we need to change. We're going to hit OK. Now what we're ready to do is to start our drawing, so let's take a look at what the actual assignment is. And the assignment is we're going to make a foundation plan with these things on there. We've got 10-inch concrete walls, we've got some beams and pipes and stuff in there, but overall we've got to make something that's 30 foot by 23 foot and with this little L formation in there. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to hit my line button. I'm just going to start and I'm going to draw a line to my right at 30 foot. 30, and you got to put the foot mark in there and hit enter. Oop. Mine. We want to make sure that it's straight. If you turn this button down here at the bottom to ortho on, it will only allow the line to go straight. So I'll go 30 foot now. Now see how it shot it off the screen? I right clicked and hit enter there. I am going to double click my roller mouse and then kind of roll my middle mouse button. It's zooming it out. I'm going to come down here and hit my line button. And I'm going to come down my 23 foot. And then it said to come over 15 foot. Up 3 foot. To go up. So this is my overall look at the piece. We got 30 foot by 23 by 15. We add that 3 foot in there. Well, our walls are 10-inch concrete walls. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to use this offset command. That's underneath the modifier. It's like a little bubble car. I'm going to hit that. And it says specify the offset distance. Well, it's 10 inches. I'm going to go 10, enter. I'm going to offset it to the inside. I am left clicking and then I'm left clicking again. Left click, left click, left click, left click, and left click, left click. Now the issue here is that we've got intersecting corners. So I'm going to come up here to my fillet button. And it says that my radius is 0, which is fine. So I'm just going to come in here and check my left click, and it will get those corners out. And I'll right click, repeat the fillet. Left click, right click, repeat. Left click, right click, repeat. And so on and so forth. So we're going to get our 10-inch thick concrete wall here. Now what we need to show on here, let's go back to the assignment for a second. It says that we have a steel beam in the middle of the foundation labeled W818. So if we got a beam in there, we need to show that beam. And I'm going to put that beam, I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to go from the midpoint of this piece. Okay, my midpoint is not showing up. See how it's giving me a green box up here, right there, but it's not giving me the midpoint line. So I'm going to come down here to my object snap, which is right here, object snap. You have to right click on it, and I'm going to choose my midpoint button. And now my little triangle should show up here. I'm going to left click and draw my line across. This one I'm just going to go ahead and pull across, hit enter. Then I'm going to select my line and I'm going to pull it back to that point. When these blue grippers are on there, you hit escape on your keyboard, or you can right click, deselect all. Now this is your beam in the middle, but we want to do a few things to it. I'm going to select it to turn those blue grippers on. I'm going to change the color to red so we know that it's a beam by going up here to the properties box. And then this bottom bilayer box, I'm going to select it. And we have a continuous line loaded. We need a center line loaded. So I'm going to go to other, load, and then in alphabetical order I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to use center times 2. While I'm right here, I'm going to go load, and I am going to load in my hidden times 2. Gotta make sure I grab the same one, hidden times 2. So if I got center times 2 and hidden times 2, I'm good. I'm going to hit OK. So when I select this piece, I'm going to come up here to this bottom bilayer now, and I'm going to say, hey, you are a center line representing that center of the beam. Now notice how you can barely see that anything happened. If I zoomed in, you can see that it is a center line. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in LT scale, L-T-S-C-A-L-E, LT scale, and hit enter. It says, hey, what do you want that scale factor to be? And I'm going to hit 10 and see what happens. Now I can see it on my paper. And that is what we want. The next thing, let's look at the assignment. It says some steel pipe columns. Let's do the footings around the outside next. This one, it doesn't actually say this on the drawing, but you do have to put it on there. The rule is the WW2W. So if the wall was 10 inches thick, WW2W means it's 20 inches thick, which means when I go to offset, I'm going to offset it 5 inches each way. So it says, what is the offset distance? I'm going to go 5, enter. There's one line for my footing. And you're going to do this all the way around your part. I went ahead and did the entire piece. Now we got to come back and do like what we did with the walls. I'm going to hit fillet. The radius is 0 down there, so I'm just going to left click, and it's going to get my corners. I'm going to right click, repeat fillet. And I'm going to do this on every single corner. So it will connect each one of my corners. Alright, now that I went around and went ahead and filleted all my corners here, I'm going to select each one of my foundation lines. Actually, this is for my footing, by the way, for my footing. Oop, I double clicked and that came up. So just select all the lines at once here, as long as it's your footing. I'm going to go around and do that really quick. Now that all my footings are selected, I'm going to come up here to my color. I'm going to make them, let's make them blue, and then I'm going to make them into hidden lines. So now the right click, deselect all. So now I got my footings around my foundation wall. I've got my beam going across the middle of my house. And now we're going to make our beam pockets. So our beam pockets are 8 inches wide. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go 8. Actually, I'm going to go 4 this way. 4, enter. I'm going to go back 5 because that's half my wall. I'm going to come back over 8. And then I'm going to come over to 4. Actually, it was 5. So there's my beam pocket for my beam. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to come down 4. over 5. My beam is 8, and then 5. So there's my beam pockets. Now let's go back and look at the assignment here real quick. So I've got a 10-inch concrete wall. I've got a steel beam in the middle with the label. I got the beam pocket. So now all I got left is my windows and my footings underneath the post. It said that my posts were no bigger than 3.5. So I'm going to come in here on my line. I'm going to turn off my object snap for a minute. And I'm going to come here. I'm going to hit de-enter 3.5. Very small. I expected it to be very small. Again, as long as we're on the line here. De-enter 3.5. So there are my two beams. Where did I place them at? I'm just going to place them wherever, quite honestly. I'm going to draw in some lines here with regards to, I'm going to turn my O-snap back on. I'm going to go from the center of this beam. It said that I had 1 foot by 1 foot, 1'6" by 1'6" beams. So if I go up half of 1'6", which is 9 inches, then I'm going to go 9 inches. I'm going to go 1'6", 1'6", and 1'6". These are my piers, are my footings for underneath of my beam, my pole. I am going to hit the copy button up here. I'm going to copy. It says select objects to copy. I'm going to copy this outside rectangle. It says select out. There's nothing else to select. I'm going to right click. I'm going to left click on the center point of that circle. And I'm going to zoom in on this one and left click there. So now I've got two footings around my poles. Alright, the last thing I think we have to do is actually create a few windows in here. And it says, let's make a few, no, that's my footings. Actually, I only made my footings 1'6" by 1'6", but that'll work. Alright, so no big deal. We're going to put in a couple 2-foot windows or so, about every 8 feet it says. So we're going to make a couple windows in here. How do we make a window? Really, we're just going to section off where we want a window at. Let's say, for instance, I hit the line button. I'm just going to draw a line in here from here to here, let's say. And I'm going to just make sure that my line is inside of my wall. It's a little funky here. Things jumping all around on me. There. To there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset that wall then, or that line. So I hit the offset button. And it said, I forgot already how big the windows has to be. It said 2 foot 8 inches. 2 foot 8 inches. So I'm going to offset a distance of 2 foot 8, enter. I'm going to offset this line that direction. So there's my window of 2 foot 8. Not yet, but so then I'm going to draw a line in here from, I'll say, midpoint to midpoint. And then I'm going to offset this at like, I don't know, 2 inches, let's say. So I'm going to offset 2 inches, and I'm just going to try to make enough so I can see 2 lines. What that basically represents there is a pane of glass. I can go up here to copy. I'm going to grab a window. And I'm just going to copy it over. So now I've got another window in that portion right there. So let's just check the assignment, make sure I've got everything. I've only got 30 seconds left anyway, so we got dimensions, beam. So we could throw some dimension on it, but we're not going to worry about that at this time. So we've completed. We got the 10-inch balls, we got the beam, we got the half, we got the footings, we got the beam pockets, and we got the windows on there. So this drawing is basically complete.